So we're so fixated on brands and branding. It kind of got diluted what a brand is. I am so far removed from brand colors, I just couldn't care. What I care about is the actual brand. See, the category makes the brand, not the other way around. The brand doesn't make a category, you make the category. The category makes the brand. You automatically know the category because the category makes the brand. If you don't know or don't have a category that you play in, you're being charged to play in someone else's sandbox.
Welcome to today's episode. We're going to be talking about building authority in a crowded market, and I've invited Sean Douglas to join us today. So welcome, Sean. It's great to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me. I am very, very honored to connect with you.
Well, thank you. I'm going to dive straight in today. We're not going to beat around the bush here. I know that you help clients, leaders, thought leaders, experts stand out in saturated spaces. What's the first thing that you look at when someone says to you, I feel invisible online?
I look at the category that they're playing in.
Mm-hmm.
So we're so fixated on brands and branding. It kind of got diluted what a brand is. Some coaches I hear, they're like, well, send me your brand colors. I am so far removed from brand colors, I just couldn't care. What I care about is the actual brand. See, the category makes the brand, not the other way around. The brand doesn't make a category, you make the category. The category makes the brand. And so if I told you, like, what's the little Nike swoosh thing, and you could recognize it, if it was an Adidas symbol, if it was an Air Force symbol, you would know. If it was the globe at anchor from the Marine Corps, they would know, right? Those recognizable brands, it's a brand. You automatically know the category because the category makes the brand. If you don't know or don't have a category that you play in, you're being charged to play in someone else's sandbox.
Tell us a little bit more, explain a little bit deeper what you mean by category and how that would, obviously it's really easy to understand, like athleisure, breakfast cereal, super easy to understand. How does it relate to us as experts? And can you explain that so that someone can understand what you mean?
Absolutely. Category design is a business discipline where you create and dominate a market category. Normally, it's the category that you design. So in 2017, I created a live online radio show called Life Transformation Radio. And after 476 episodes, I sold that radio show. I didn't say that I was a podcaster. I would say I have a radio show that is repurposed into a podcast. So somebody will go, tell me about your show. And tell me about your show. I was like, hi, I'm a podcaster. My podcast is this. 10 people. The 11th, me, goes, hi, my show is Life Transformation Radio. It's a live online radio show that's repurposed into a podcast. And they go, wow, I created a category, a radio show being repurposed into a podcast. It was the transformation experience, kind of like Joe Rogan experience. It was Life Transformation Radio. It was a live recording experience. Now, as a speaker, I could say I'm a leadership speaker. I'm a motivational speaker. What I created was a conversational keynote experience. And so it's not just a death by PowerPoint presentation delivered to 1,000 different audiences the same way every time. A conversational keynote experience is like a choose your own adventure book. And when I explain to event planners that you're probably looking for someone engaging, interactive, fun, funny, and not death by PowerPoint, and someone who is very interactive and engaging with the audience because you're sick of the same old speakers coming in, delivering words on a page or on a slide deck, and then leaving, it's just uninspired. And they're like, yeah, I've created the conversational keynote experience. And what that looks like is this. Here's what I can do for your audience. They're like, we love it. Oh my God. And so what I've done is I've created a new category of speaking called the conversational keynote experience. It's different, it's fresh, and it solves a problem that the event planners have, which is the biggest problem they have is I need a not boring or sucky speaker.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, you're speaking straight to their pain point.
Yes.
All right. Let's reverse engineer this. Where do people start in creating this category? And I think I've already given some of it away, right? Because I already can tell where you're going with this.
It's the problem they solve and the biggest pain point.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you start. So here's how you do it. Category design is in 3 phases: framing, naming, and claiming. And if you want to know more about this, my buddy Christopher Lochhead, who is the godfather of category design, has an amazing book called Play Bigger: How Pirates, Dreamers, and Innovators Create and Dominate Markets. And so as a category designer, and he's a mentor and a friend, and we've known each other for years, and he's got so many cool things happening, but I always go back, I'm like, hey man, look at what got created. Hey, check this out. And we're always kind of like sharing notes, right? It always starts with the problem. So you frame, name, and claim. So frame a problem in a way that only you can solve it. So you're essentially creating the problem. You are creating a problem that only you can solve. And then you're conditioning the market to receive that problem as their own. It would be so easy to look at my new shiny object and look at my thing. You got to buy it. Oh my gosh, we're not vacuum salesmen. There's a reason why people don't go door to door selling anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Now, unless you're like satellite companies or like, what do you call it? The solar panels and stuff. Like people go and like windows and like, oh, we'll fix your window. Like those people still exist. And sometimes they'll knock on your door or whatever. But there's a reason why we don't sell that way anymore, because there's a lot of rejection. Speak exactly to the problem that you solve, condition the market to receive that problem as their own, and then educate the market on why they have that problem, or get them to realize, I didn't realize that was my problem. Holy crap. Like, I'm glad you just realized it because I got the solution for you. Market the problem, not the solution. People buy their way out of problems. They don't buy into solutions.
Mm-hmm.
Unless they got shiny object syndrome and they're ADHD and they're like, I must buy everything. All the coaching programs come my way, because I know a lot of people that do that and they bought coaching programs 5 years ago, never opened them, never used them, never even had a meeting. They just paid thousands of dollars for it. It just sits in their email.
Mm-hmm.
Create a problem that only you can solve, and then condition the market to receive that problem and get them to want, to need your solution. It's like, become CVS Pharmacy, don't become Walmart.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Not to me, because we don't have Walmart or CVS, but I'm getting the idea. I get the gist.
Become the pharmacy, not the general location.
Uh-huh.
You go into a pharmacy to get a specific medication to solve some sort of problem, right? And everybody just wants to be a generalist.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, I can do all these things.
Mm-hmm.
So like you have general surgeons, but then you've got orthodontics, but then you've got ophthalmology, and you got x-ray, and you got peds, and that's why there's a general surgeon, and then there are brain surgeons, or there are specific practices of health or whatever, the certain specific practice that a doctor has, and he doesn't do anything else. That's the specialty. Become the doctor of a specialty, not just let me go to Walmart or Target or just a general store and just browse and look at everything.
Totally. Now you're saying create a problem, but we're not actually making up a problem. We're not pulling a problem out of thin air. It's a real problem that these people have. Where are we diving into that? Like, can you give us an idea of what is the problem that you want to dive into and what are you going to leave behind?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's half that. So you're not exactly creating a problem out of thin air, but you're framing it in a new perspective. That's the whole thing. When you become a category king or queen, you have taken a problem and you have reframed it into a different lens. For example, if I said that the number one problem that podcasters have is they're not getting enough downloads. But is that a symptom or is that a problem? The problem, I'm not getting enough downloads. Well, maybe your problem is actually that you're not visible on social media because you actually don't post on social media, or
Mhm.
you haven't used YouTube properly, or you haven't marketed properly. So it's not that you're not getting, like, downloads is like a result. So everybody's like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
want to monetize my podcast. How do I monetize my podcast? How do I make money on my podcast? Okay, so let's create the problem. So the problem is that I'm not making enough money. Okay, well, how much do you want to make? What do you want to make from the podcast? How do you want to make it? What are you going to sell? Where are you going to sell it? Like, there's a whole host of questions. So then it becomes not a question of how do I make the money or how do I know what to sell, but it becomes like, why do I want it to make money? And what am I going to do to fix it? And so you got to go really deep. So the problem isn't my podcast isn't making money. It's mostly because they don't know how,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not using the systems properly. So now the problem becomes, are you not making enough money on your podcast? It's because you're not utilizing the systems available to you properly. With us, we streamline your process. We get you making money in the first 6 months, all these things, right? And so you've essentially solved their problem, but you've solved it deeper than what they initially thought because you can only rise to the level of consciousness that they have. It's like saying you don't
Mm-hmm.
know what you don't know. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Some people think that you think small, but do I think small or do I only think at the conscious level of where I am in my life? If I had a higher level of
Totally.
consciousness, if I had a higher level of thinking, if I had a higher level of knowledge, then I would think a little bit bigger. Now, Samantha Riley might be at a super high level and I am not. Is she going to think that I'm thinking small? Maybe, because what her mind can conceive is way far out than what I'm able to conceive. But what you do so well, Samantha, is you bring people with you. And so you're educating everybody and you're like, no, no, here's where we are. I'm going to bring you along for the ride. And that's what really makes you a great podcaster.
Mm, mm. Let's flip it just a moment. So we've talked about the symptoms. And I think I'm really glad that you mentioned that because I think a lot of coaches, experts, we know our topic so deeply that we actually don't realize how many steps we skip. And I'm sure you see it. Coaches go straight for the core problem. And then, like, that's how they miss the conversation that's happening in their prospect's head, which is what you're talking about here. Let's flip it. What are the biggest mistakes you see people make? So you've talked about what to do. Like, I'd love you to lift up the carpet and shine a light under there so that people can really grasp this concept.
The biggest one would be to concentrate on the branding colors and the corporate structure. And it's like mindset and strategy. You'll always have people that say the strategy is the best, the mindset's the best. Here's the biggest mistake. If I have a mindset that is flawless and amazing, and my strategy sucks, I can recover from the strategy. My mindset might go a little bit down. My level, I'm like, oh, this sucks. And I'm getting worn down. I'm getting burned out, but I'll always recover. Now, if your strategy is flawless and your mindset sucks, it might be that your strategy is what's holding you up. And like, okay, it's working. Oh my gosh. And then all of a sudden your mindset raises. So it's got to be an equal 50-50. It can't be 90 mindset, 10 strategy or 90 strategy, 10 minds. It's got to be kind of right in the middle because even though your strategy sucks, your mindset's got to be there to compensate and vice versa. If your strategy is not great, your mindset's good. If your mindset's not great, but your strategy is good, right? They have to coexist. If it's too lopsided, then you're starting from the bottom. And so everybody focus, you got to have a great mindset. Okay, but if your strategy sucks, your mindset's not getting you paid.
Right.
Strategy gets you paid. Your mindset keeps you in the game. Think of it that
Mm,
way. Your
mm.
strategy is what gets you paid. Your mindset keeps you in the game.
I love that.
So it's got to be even, and you've got to raise them both at the same time. Don't focus on
Mm,
just one.
love that. Strategy is one of my most favorite topics. I love nerding out on strategy.
Hmm?
Can you share what you see as the difference between consistent, if we're talking about content and getting our message out there,
Hmm?
and strategic? What's the difference between consistent and strategic?
Wow. I don't think there is. In my opinion, you have to be consistent. It's got to be part of the strategy. Your consistency is part of the strategy. So it's built into the process. When I talked about framing, naming, and claiming, you're framing a problem and creating a one that only you can solve. And then you do all the marketing and all the things, right? Then you name it. Hey, event planner, you hired a boring speaker. And somebody literally told me this not even a week ago. They were like, oh my gosh, our speaker last year was a dud. Oh man. Like we looked at all the videos and we were like, ah, that's pretty good, you know. But they got on stage and it was just slide, slide, slide. I mean, he just literally
uh,
talked from the slides. I'm like, ooh, that's not good. She goes, it was a
yeah, that's horrible, isn't it?
oh yeah. She goes, it was so bad. I'm like, yikes. Well, here, I don't even have slides unless it's required. She goes, no, we're not doing slides. I'm like, perfect. She goes, if you want them, great. But like, we don't really, I mean, the fact that you don't have them is awesome. So, and I told her, I said, what I've created is the conversational keynote experience, right? So then I gave her the name of the problem that I solved, which was that conversational keynote experience. And then you claim it. So frame, name, and claim. Frame the problem, name it, and then claim it as this is the new thing. And so what I said was concentrate on the audience engagement and the audience interaction and the content that you're delivering in a fun, energetic way. That is what we're going to focus on. And that is what we do as professional speakers. She goes, oh my gosh, I love that. Okay, perfect. And then, I got the gig. And so I addressed the pain point right away. And I said, this is what we created and this is what we're going to deliver. And it was like quick, quick, quick. And really good coaches know how to do that, right? It's less about consistently performing poorly and more about let's figure out what's not working and let's solve the not working part rather than tearing up the whole strategy and just
Yes.
rebuilding it.
Yes. I see so many people throwing the baby out with the bathwater, and it doesn't
Yes.
need to happen. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's just a slight tweak. I talk about it, the way that I talk about it is like imagine that we've got a mixing desk, and like my background's dance, so sound is a huge part of that. And we'd have the massive mixing desk in the wings, and you'd hear kids on stage, or this is what I do. You hear kids on stage, and you're like, oh, that need, I'm not picking up the bass. So you're just moving that one a little bit. And then it's like, oh, the treble, it's like peaking at the top. Let's just move that down a bit. And that's what you're talking about. It's just like doing some slight tweaks to get it to fall into place so that
Mhm.
it's received well.
Yep. People will tear up their entire website. They're ripping apart their social media strategy. It's not working. Well, it's only been like 2 weeks. Like, give it a little moment. Like, tweak this one topic and do it one tweak. That's all you need. So, most people, when they build a business, they create their corporate structure. They've got their corporate blueprint. They know kind of how it's going to work. And then they've got their product or their service or program or whatever they know what they sell. They know their corporate structure, pricing, and all the things. And that's about it. They never pull that third lever of category design. So, do I want to charge people to play in my sandbox or should I go next door and play in theirs? I want to charge people to play in my sandbox and I want to create the biggest and best sandbox. I'm not going to tear down everybody else's. I'm going to create the
Mm,
best sandbox that I can. And then I'm going to name it something completely different. It's not even going to be a sandbox. It's going to be like something else. And then it becomes different. So being different is what's going to stand out amongst everybody else. Tony Robbins doesn't even call himself a motivational speaker anymore. He hasn't since the pandemic. He
Mm-hmm.
calls himself a master life strategist.
Mm-hmm.
He was in 2019 the number one motivational speaker, maybe besides Les Brown, maybe even besides like Jack Canfield and Brian Tracy, Gary Vaynerchuk. Everybody's like, oh, he's a motivational speaker. Gary's like, I am not a motivational speaker. No,
Exactly.
absolutely
Yeah.
not. Right. But people lump him in with that. And then he said, no, I'm not a motivational speaker. I am just a business strategist. I am a marketer. And he claimed himself as, here's my flag. I'm planting it. Here's what I'm called. And
Mm-hmm.
so, do you want to be a motivational speaker? Do you want to be a podcaster? Or do you want to create something else? And I love the name of the podcast because by design, that's how we're going to stand out. We've designed what we do in the very beginning of how we're going to stand out, how we're going to create the impact, how we're going to reach people. It's already by design how we want it to happen. People that go in like, I'm going to hit record and people are just going to listen to me. Their field of dreams has been the killer of
Mm,
dreams since day one. If you build it, they will come, said one person and one person only, and that was Kevin Costner.
totally.
Nobody else. And I don't care if you're Joe Rogan in 2014. It doesn't matter. I know people who've been podcasting since 2012, 2013, 2014. I came in 2017 and even they were struggling to get people to like, let's go. And now Joe Rogan is the best, the biggest, because he stayed with it. It was in his strategy. He does it his way, and everybody tries to copy that. That's how you know
Mm-hmm.
you're the category king or queen, is everybody tries to copy you.
Oh, I really love that last piece. I really love that last piece because it's very easy to say, well, Joe Rogan's killing it. Let's do a show like Joe Rogan. But the thing is, that's just for him. It's working
Mhm,
because it's him. And
mhm.
it won't work for anyone else in the same way because we're not Joe Rogan. Like success leaves clues, definitely. But I'm a big
Mhm.
believer, and we take lots of little clues from all over the place. We don't just
Yes.
completely lean in and just copy one person. Just doesn't
Right.
work.
Right. We're not going to have a show called Between Two Bushes. You know what I mean? Zach has already done the Between Two Ferns. He rips on people. I still don't know if they actually know like it's coming or whatever. Like you can't not know what's going to happen on the show. But at the same
Right.
time, like that's what he created and that's his shtick. On Life Transformation Radio, I did a live online radio show and it was broadcast through the internet because I wanted a radio show feel to bridge between FM and AM radio and podcasts. I wanted to bridge the two. So I decided to go with Blog Talk Radio, which actually is no longer in service. Someone bought them, but we were using Skype to connect. That's what they used.
Mm-hmm.
It would be great audio if you had an actual professional microphone setup. It sounded amazing. But people who like called in on their phones and stuff, it was so bad. Like the audio was really, really bad quality. There's a lot of audio engineering that played into it, but it was live. I didn't have to edit anything. And I told the guests, like, it's live. So if you mess up, everybody's gonna hear it. I'm not editing a thing.
Mm.
I loved the show because I would hit record. Let's go. We're on the show. We're live. And I get a countdown in my ear. 3, 2, 1. And then the music would play. And then as soon as that was done, I hit stop record and it said, please wait while uploading. Once it uploaded, it was done. It was on Libsyn. It was on everywhere. It was within a day. It was everywhere. I didn't have to do anything. It was the greatest.
Mm.
But that's
Love that.
what I designed.
Yeah. Need to understand what it is that you want so that you can design it. Totally.
Correct. And that's the strategy.
Love it. I want to change lanes just a little bit. You coach people to speak on stages, to land TEDx talks, to grow businesses. How important do you see speaking in building and marketing authority.
You have to be a master of communication.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're putting a message on social media, and with AI tools like ChatGPT, I can go, hey, create me a social media post on selling my method, and great, but like, is it really going to land? Is it really going to connect? Is it really going to speak to the person's pain point? And if you notice, if you ever do that with ChatGPT, like create me a marketing message for Facebook for this is whatever. It looks like a ClickFunnels ad. It sounds like a ClickFunnels ad. It sounds like a selling, but it doesn't sound human. And people pick up on that all the time. And you could just feel like that message. Although on the flip side, you have the I sucked. I found the unlock. Now I don't suck. And it's those horrible webinars, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Those are
yeah.
great either. So somewhere in the middle, we've got to figure out what our voice is. And part of being a category queen or king is finding your brand's voice. And when you design your category, you also design its voice. And once
Mm-hmm.
that brand voice comes through, now you've landed the marketing messages because you're pinpointing the problem. You're framing that problem and only you can solve. Then you're not selling the solution or marketing the solutions and buy my stuff, buy my stuff. You're attracting people to buy your stuff because, oh my gosh, I have that problem too. Oh my God. I don't know how many people that are like, me too. Like,
Mm-hmm.
can't figure this out because like I'll speak at some events and I'm like, hey, I just booked this event. I found them here, or they found me, or there's some kind of story attached to it. You know, I'm speaking to this association and here's what they do. And the problem that they have is this. And I'm speaking on whatever leaders or resilience or whatever it is. I'm speaking on this topic to this organization because this is what they're dealing with. And I can solve it for them. And, you know, if you want to speak to associations, if you know that you can solve this association's problem, I'd love to connect with you and get you plugged in and get you to learn. It's that type of stuff because they're like, I could have spoke there. Oh my gosh. So a lot of speakers don't market correctly either because they want to hide who they're speaking for so no one takes the lead, which is super weird because you've already got the gig. So broadcast the name or, you know, whatever, but always speak to the problem first. Always.
Love that. You just talked a little bit then about selling. You're coming onto the stage, you're talking about the problem, and you sell. Because I know you talk a lot about serve before you sell. Is
Mhm.
obviously this is what you're talking about. Is serve before you sell just talking about the problem? Like, can you dive a little bit deeper into what that serving actually looks like?
I hate it when people say selling is serving or something along those lines where it's like, if you're selling to people, you're serving. Yeah, only if they pay. Service in itself is selfless. And so essentially, you're building relationships, not bank accounts. Money is the byproduct of the value that you deliver. Period. The end. We can all go home now.
Mm,
Money is the byproduct of the value that you deliver. If people think you're valuable, then you will be rewarded. If you are a person of value and a person of success, you will be rewarded. And quickly, people will find out if you are a scammer or if it's all NLP and marketing fluff and you took them for thousands. Let people talk. They will find out. You cannot hide, especially today in this connected world that we live in. So, with that said, how do we sell? We sell by solving the problem and we serve them by solving that specific problem. Now, if you had engine trouble, you would go to a mechanic and he would say, "Okay, here's what's going on with your car. Oh, also by the way, I noticed that your tires are bald and your muffler's hanging off your car. You should probably get
mm-hmm,
those things fixed. And we're going to go ahead and fix those things too." They're like, "But I didn't ask for you to fix those things. I just need my engine fixed. I'll take care of the
mm-hmm.
tires. I'll go to a tire shop or I'll go well, we do the tires here. No, 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 no. I just need the engine." Like you're going to get some pushback. Or you'll get, oh my gosh, thank you for finding that. I would love for you to fix those tires. Yeah, go ahead and do that. So you've got two people that want just that one thing fixed and they have coaches for everything else. But then you've got the person that's like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize that. Well, thank you for finding that too. Please fix that as well. Right. So that is serving where you're like, listen, I'm going to fix that one problem, but I've noticed a couple other things too. Would you like those things addressed? If they say no, it's respecting their boundary,
Mm.
not hounding and hounding and hounding and hounding, right? And then there's some coaches that string them along, like we're almost there, like we're almost there, and they're getting no results. Well, it just has to work. Like one more meeting and one more meeting. You got to pay me for one more month. You got to, and they just string them along and make them keep paying payments, but you're not even getting results. So there's all kinds of talk about coaching industry and the way it should be done. But bottom line is that when you become a person of value, money's the byproduct. It's so abundant. It's so clear. You will never have a scarce mindset. If you become a person of value, you become a person of success and you focus on serving the person's problem rather than serving your own bank account. That's the way I look at it, just in my opinion.
Mm. Love it. So, before we wrap this episode up, can you just share a little bit about where people can find you and connect with you?
Absolutely. So my website is the Success Core, like Marine Corps, spelled CORPS, thesuccesscore.com. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok. Instagram and TikTok are at the Success Core. That's the handle. And mostly on Facebook, but a little bit on LinkedIn as well. But would love to connect with you and check out our show. So we have Create, Launch, Monetize, which is actually being rebranded into a new show. And then we have the From No Worth to Self Worth show. And would love for you to subscribe and listen to that. Make sure you subscribe to Samantha's show as well. And would just absolutely love to connect with you.
Love it. So, all the links for all of those places that Sean just mentioned will be in the show notes below wherever you're listening. So, you can just scroll down and click away and connect. But, Sean, I want to finish off with someone that's been listening to this episode. They feel like they're doing all the right things, but they're still not getting traction. What is the first place that you would have them audit first?
Positioning. The positioning. Either you position yourself or the market will position you.
Mm-hmm.
Here's how you know. Go onto social media on every single one of your profiles and just ask them, hey, everyone, just wanted to check in with the network, kind of check your pulse on how you're feeling. I'm curious. I haven't really connected with everybody here. What is it that you think that I do? Please tell me. This would be really helpful feedback. Please tell me what it is that you think that I do. Thank you so much. And please post below. Boom, done. Some people will be like, yeah, you're a coach or you're a business owner or what, and they really have, and somebody's like, I'm not really sure. That's how you know the market will never lie, ever.
Mm.
They will tell you the truth. And so if you're a speaker, it should be all over your profiles. If you're a podcaster, it should say on your profiles. If you're a business coach, if you're whatever coach, if you're an entrepreneur, whatever you are, whatever you're positioned as. So there's a big difference by being a motivational speaker and a resilience speaker or a leadership speaker. It's very concise. Most people who start out in business will start punching 1-inch holes in their backyard. And they're just trying to dig up something that they think is going to work. Pretty soon, you have 12 1-inch holes. It would have been easier and more efficient if you would have just made one 12-inch hole instead of 12 1-inch holes. So don't punch holes all over the place. Just go straight down, super deep, and create your category that you are going to play in. And then you call it, whether you're a business positioning strategist, like I call myself, or a resilience speaker, leadership speaker, team building speaker. I don't talk about AI. I'm not an AI speaker. I don't talk about healthcare systems. I'm not a healthcare system speaker. I speak on resilience, leadership, team building, and business positioning strategies. That is all. That is all I will ever talk about.
Love it. I do have one. I just said that that's where we're going to wrap up, but this is my toxic trait. I can't wrap up. So I do want to follow that on with a question. How do people build the one big hole when they haven't quite figured out what those 12 1-inch holes are? Does that make sense?
That is an excellent question. That is an excellent question. And the answer is positioning. Who do you want to be and what do you want to be known for? That's how the positioning starts. That is the first step. I want to be positioned. Let's say I want to be a speaker. So what do I speak about? I don't know. Let me dig up all this stuff. Well, hold on a second. If you want to be a speaker, a podcaster, or a business owner, what do you want to be known for? What do you want to be known as? Another way to put it is, what are you selling? Now, we always start with the problem that we solve, but if you don't know what problem you solve, what are you selling? Let's say you're selling antiques, or you're selling, I don't know, subscriptions, or you're selling books, or whatever you want to sell. So, okay, well then why do you want to sell that? Why that out of everything you could possibly sell? Remember like 5 years ago, it was like drop shipping. Everybody should be a drop shipper, right?
Yeah.
Now I really don't know anybody that's doing drop shipping anymore because everybody got into it. And it usually follows the crowd and it follows the trends. You know, we're renting out websites for people, creating your own social medias, or we're going to fix your YouTube. It's always something that AI, I remember when ChatGPT first came out, people started changing their social media profiles to ChatGPT expert or AI expert. I was like, literally, this thing has been out for 3 hours. This guy's already got a guide and he goes, yeah, I prompted it. So the guy sends me the prompt. I'm like, okay. He goes, what did he say? He said something like, I want to be a ChatGPT expert or an AI expert. Please create a persona that I can market so that I can become a ChatGPT expert and create me a guide on becoming a ChatGPT expert. I did it. And all of a sudden he's like selling it for like $50. I was like, you got to be kidding me. That's what happens. So you start by, what am I going to sell? What am I going to be known for? And how do I want to be positioned correctly in the marketplace? That's the start.
There we go. Thanks, Sean. Thanks for coming onto the show and sharing your frameworks and your zone of genius with us. It's been great to chat.
Thank you so much.